Evening, everybody. It's Dave here. Jerry saw a better half on this side over here.
Got my
It's went with
my free 99 cut for you.
free 99.
Free 99.
Yeah, mine's free too. Just buy the Clippers, but the Clippers were $19, and I went to go buy another set because they're my favorite Clippers ever, and they're like $119 now. So, anyways, inflation, darn Carter 2.0. Evening, everybody. It's Sunday. I know there's a soccer game going on right now. So, well, you know what, Jerry? September's in the books. It's in the books. And so I'll go through my week, my month, and I'll go through my week and all that. I know Jerry posted his numbers to me already, so a little bit of a sneak peek there, but yeah, a little bit of a twist to it, I think, because I didn't go by IB's numbers. If I went by IB's numbers, I had a negative month. So, but I still, cleared almost $2,700 last month. And the way I look at it is if I just take that $2,700 and divide it by my net lick, roughly it gives me about a 1% return, which is close to where I wanted to be. So, yeah, there you go. All right, let me look at my spreadsheet here. So, last month, like I said, $2,700 and about a 1% return roughly. So last week, I cleared $243. Not very much, but it's not negative. So, and I'm up about roughly about $193 for October at this point. Didn't put a lot on. Jerry. Last week I put on a TQQQ, put on a QQQ, put on another QQQ, put on a Verizon, which you saw me do, put on another QQQ, put a TNA on. Might have actually parroted you on that one. And then I had a QQQ. I actually took the Verizon off the same day I put it on. Took a 20% profit on that one. Then I took off the TQQQ off, and I took the QQQ off when the market recovered a bit. Squeaked out about $150, $160 out of those with a 3-day hold. So I'm running kind of light right now, sitting at $60,000 of maintenance margin, 20% buying power used, and roughly about $3,900 cooking. Still down about $4,400, mostly in leaps, bad leaps. So 23 open positions, 38 contracts total. So I'm looking at putting some more stuff on. Before I talk about the market and all that stuff, I'm going to let Jerry go through his numbers and all that, and then we can talk about where we think the market's going to go. And we'll talk about the free oil that's in his state right now. So, all right, go ahead and just take it away, Jerry.
Last week was a good week. Well, last month was a good month. $2,570 realized for the month. If I go by, like Dave says, what IB says, I'm up 1.3%. That's pretty amazing considering the market's down over 3% for the month. But if I do that same calculation that Dave says and take my realized, divide it by my net lick at the beginning of September, you're looking at about a 2.9% return. So not bad at all. Last week I didn't actually, it was very open about 5 positions. I closed about 9. Realized about $447 last week, and I opened that TNA. I did a spread, and instead of Verizon, I opened up some T puts just to spite Dave. Other than that, I think I did a U.S. cannabis put. What else did I put on? I put on a big lots down at 37.50. And that's it. Actually, that's only 4 positions because the TNA one was a put spread. So I did a put spread 65 and 50. So
I got a naked 50 on. What'd you get for yours? Just curious.
So that was my week for the TNA spread. I got $3.22 for the 65, and then I paid $1.16 for the 50.
Oh, you bought the 50. Oh shit! I sold the 50.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, 86 cents a pop.
Sold
I got
the 65.
I didn't put a lot on. Let me look and put some more stuff on. It's a weird week. You know, I mean, we were talking on Thursday.
I forgot. Last bit of information. I got 22,800 in maintenance margin on $2,722 of premium cooking. So I'm running pretty light at 25%. There we go. Now I'm done.
Futures right now, they were up. They were up over 100 points an hour ago. So they're down 74 right now. So we'll see. I think the market's literally on a teeter totter right now. It could go either way. If you look at a chart, it's like an up channel for the Qs, and it's sitting right there. And honestly, Fridays could even get considered a reversal candlestick. So it could go down, but it could go up, and this could be the low, and we could go up and make new highs or make a new top, or even just double top out. But we did avoid one of the crises last week. And what was one of those crises? Was it debt ceiling or was it the shutdown? I think it was a shutdown crisis.
Shutdown.
Yeah. So maybe the debt ceiling's still in play, although technically they've never not raised it, but we'll see. Infrastructure bill is probably dead in the water, hopefully, at least for a while. So I do think that I'm on the fence. I'm going to see what happens tomorrow, because we could also just kind of make a little bit of a bottom here, and just, the next few days could just be dancing around that last candle we had. Just there's no guarantee that we're going to have a defining candle tomorrow that's going to say, okay, we're out of this, or we're going to make a new low or something like that, unless some news comes out or some Everglade news comes out or whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But right now, it's set up to go up. So we'll see. I anticipated it going down to that 200 period moving average, but I don't know if we're going to get that lucky to get down that far. So I will be putting some more stuff on. I'm not going to be waiting around, take advantage of the down days or whatever. I need to put some shit on, Gerry.
Yeah, so do I. But I've been slow playing it. Nothing. My trouble is there's a lot of earnings going on. So everything I'm looking at has earnings, and it's like,
what are those?
Do I really want to mess with the earnings right now with the way things are running and this government doing whatever they want to do, and the market a little shaky? I probably.
What's
I don't
funny
know.
about
I did with AT&T. So.
What's funny about earnings is when you were in individual stocks, like as a stock trader, buy and hold or whatever, you couldn't wait for earnings to show up, right? And now when you're an option, it's like, oh God, it's earnings seasons already?
Yeah. There are people that play earnings with options. I just don't do that. It's just that it's a 50-50 shot.
Well, not selling premium. Maybe buying premium you would. But anyways, hi, all good. What's going on? What's the one mean, Gerry?
I don't know.
She's number one. See here. What's going on, Richard? Let's see here. C, F, and W. Mother F and W. Mother Franker. Info Ranker. What's going on, Info Ranker? Yep. Dave. Lewis Donato. What's going on, Lewis?
Another Italian mafia guy coming in here.
Yeah.
We're full of them.
Swimming with a fish, with a dead fish out there in the Pacific. Oh man, it's a shame.
I love it.
Jerry, I grew up on those beaches. When I was 2 years old, I was going into Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Laguna. I mean, those are my beaches. You know what I mean? Can't
Those
go
are
out
your
there anymore. You
beaches.
got needles, you got
Yeah,
feces, you got tents, you got oil slicks. I mean, geez,
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
pretty bad. This just gives the anti-oil people more ammunition. That said, dude, you need to be checking on your lines at least once a year or something. I don't know. Check on your lines. You know what I mean? You
I
can't just
actually
let
don't
that
even know what
shit
you're
sit
talking
out
about.
there. What's that?
I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't know about the oil slick?
I haven't watched the news all weekend.
Oh yeah, there's an oil slick out there in Huntington Beach. It's spread up to like Newport. It's killing fish, and yeah, they shut the beaches down and everything. It's Exxon Valdez all over again. But
Damn.
anyways,
That
yeah, there's a
means
leaky line because I think there's a plant right there, if I'm not mistaken, right in Huntington Beach. So yeah, leaky line.
that means
So welcome, Lewis.
EV stocks are going up Monday.
I don't know. It means oil barrels are going up. It's probably what it means. Let's see here. Shamir, what's going on, Shamir? Let's see. With Lord Slade, the gentleman, always a pleasure. Hey, welcome, Lord Slade. Bill, we got good old Bill P here. Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy. Howdy. Oh, Bill P. Oh, we got MDB. Good old MDB here. Hey, boys, got myself some chocolate cake and ready to enjoy tonight. Surprised not watching the soccer game. I'm sure there's a ton of people watching the soccer game. Or we just dedicated investors.
Football.
Yeah. Chocolate cake, Jerry.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Mmm. Keto cake, baby. Michael Kruger is in the house. What's going on, Michael Kruger? Good evening,
Ready.
gentlemen. Grinding retire. What's up, all? Gary, what's going on, Gary? Jerry and Dave. What's going on, Gary? Chucky Chill.
Chucky Chill.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese still open, right?
Barely. They're hanging on.
It's where a kid can be a kid, Jerry.
It was showbiz for us.
It's honestly like there's not a lot of places where kids can even go anymore. Jeez. Arcades are dying down, and it is what it is. Hey, Grateful Man, the GOAT. Go Bucks. Talking about the soccer game, I'm assuming. Zach. I don't know. Have we seen a Zach in here before, Jerry?
I think there's been a Zach here before.
What's the advice for someone who is young and working professional and doesn't need the options premium income? Should I invest premium into dividend ETFs? Premiums. What does he mean by that? I like
So
options.
it sounds like he's an options trader, but he doesn't need the options income to spend it. So what does he do with the options income that he receives?
Just sell more puts. When your net lick goes up, you just sell more puts. You
could do that.
Too.
Yeah, you could build out a nice portfolio with them.
Because you probably want to be long too. Something. I mean, especially if you got a lot of time left, right? I don't know how young is, but I mean, yeah. This wasn't an option when I was young. It was an option, but it wasn't an option.
Yeah, we didn't know about that. I didn't know about anything. I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, back in the early 90s, I could have moved anywhere in the country, right? But, we didn't have the foresight. I didn't anyway. We didn't have the internet. We didn't know what the hell's going on. It was crazy for me to move 3 hours away from my hometown.
That is back then. People don't know what a Thomas guide is. People don't know what yellow pages are or the white pages. They don't know, what you had to do to get around or how to find out where to go. You actually had to use a map.
Yeah, I had to write down directions.
Write down directions. And then back when the internet
680
started, prior to back when back when the internet started, back in the late 90s, even though it kind of started probably in the 60s, but we didn't have smartphones, so we'd still have to go to Google Maps and then kind of write down or print the map page out. So, or you could have got a Garmin, I suppose. Ebonics Garmin is the best. So yeah, I think so. Should I invest premium into? Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. That way, you got some stuff, coma money cooking for you, and you got, I'd say you're long, right? Because you're not. I don't know. If you're always selling puts, you're kind of hoping the market goes up, but I don't know. You want to make money in all types of market conditions. So I think having a little bit of something else too, long-term things you don't have to worry about. But Gerry's in a different boat. So he's all about income, right?
Yeah, I'm all about the income. I was talking to my son last night, and I'm just starting to realize how close, right, that me and my wife are going to be empty nesters, or potentially be empty nesters. He's class of 2023. So, he might decide at, 18 to just bounce, right? I'm out of here. See you guys. And he could go to college. He can go off to college somewhere and
you join the military.
Or join them. He can do whatever he wants, right? So, actually, when I think about it, it's like, okay, I could be buying an RV and hitting the road as early as 2023, right? So,
is your RV fund that big right now?
Heck no.
Neither is my schoolie fund.
We'll be driving one of those. We'll be driving one of those that you see in some of my videos.
Yeah, I hope not. Honestly, you could get away with like a van conversion. I saw some pretty nice ones for 20 grand right now.
There's some decent older like Class C RVs in the 20s, 30s, low 30s that you can get away with it. They're still low mileage and Ford powertrains. So we could do it if we wanted to. So as early as 2023, possibly, you might see us on the road. But I doubt that.
I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 2023. We'll see. I'm kind of worried that the vaccination restrictions will never be lifted, so which will kind of hinder my travel abroad plans. That's a tongue twister, Gerry. Travel abroad plans.
Yeah, I read that article. Did you read that article about that guy who's living in Thailand? Living on like $1,000.
There's a lot of guys living in Thailand.
$1,000 a month or something like that. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty roughing it, probably.
He wasn't roughing it.
Yeah, you have to probably be there and assimilate into the culture, because once you get there, if you go to the wrong area or whatever, they're just gonna know, oh, American? Oh yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, so you got to assimilate a little bit, and kind of figure out what the lowdown is, where the good spots are.
I wouldn't want to go to a foreign country and act like a baller because your money goes farther. I'd want to act as poor as possible.
Oh man, that's so. How do you act poor?
That's a good question.
Try to get a discount and everything.
I mean, I just be me. I don't.
Holy clothes. I mean, what? For anybody that's listening here in the chat, how do you look poor? How do you act poor? What's going on, John Arnold? Glad to have you.
John Arnold, isn't that an actor? John Arnold.
No, that's
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold, yeah, exactly. Roseanne Barr's, are they still married?
I think they're ex.
I thought they got divorced and they got remarried.
Oh.
She married the limousine driver.
My wife says she married the limousine driver.
Oh, man. She probably, I mean, could you imagine being married to her? Roseanne Barr syndrome? Woo, man. Brian Lee, Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I'm actually going to buy quite a bit probably tomorrow on JEPY. I got a boatload of cash sitting around, so I'm probably going to go in a pretty substantial chunk into JEPY. I have to say, I think JEPY is probably my by far my best non-Devo ETF because Devo is in a different bucket, right?
People are giving JEPY some very unfair flack, in my opinion. And it's they got spoiled out the gate, because they threw out these big freaking distributions, and it wasn't sustainable. And I said that I've been saying that for way back when that JEPY is going to be a 6-7% or roughly, right? And that's what it's shaking out to be. And I think it deserves a little bit more respect than it's been getting. People been hammering that thing to me.
As a bad thing?
Yeah, because it's not paying 50 cents a share like it did when it first came out.
Who gives a shit? Jesus.
Yeah.
You get 7% yield out of it. You got like a 7% return out of it. You add that together, that's pretty much where the market's at right now. It's probably one of the best in class by far. I'm almost putting it up there better than Nusi at this point.
Although I will say the way the ETNs ELNs are structured, the income might stay a little flat because you're talking bank interest, right? So it's not, the way they're structured is weird. So they're not.
That's not 100% of their portfolio either.
Right. They're not going to get as much income out of those going forward. So, but I still think 6 to 7% yield, it's a no-brainer.
I'm completely happy with it. So I don't know who those naysayers are, but send them my way. So yeah, very rarely dips below $60. I was just looking at it actually today, coming up with a game plan for tomorrow, and I love that candle on Friday. Literally bounced right off that, came really close to the 200 at $59 a share. So I'll be adding some tomorrow for sure. Info Ranker, see you. Average Joe Investor did a video on a couple new cover call ETFs, the downside protection. Oh yeah, Gerry did some videos on those already, I think.
Yeah, I already did.
Kind of junk.
Exermi and Quermy.
Yeah, they're kind of junk.
I'm not excited about them at all.
Well, Nusi's a managed ETF. Like Squirmy and Quirmy and whatever are not. So there's a big difference right there off the bat.
Yeah, and honestly, if you wanted to run your own, buy QLD and buy a freaking put. That's what they're doing. That's essentially what it is.
If you want to run your own, just freaking trade QQQ.
Exactly, but I'm just saying Global X has thrown out all these freaking ETFs that are just a mash together of the same thing, and they charge you freaking way too much money for nothing. They're doing nothing.
Like XYLG, for example.
Like XYLG, QYLG, these Exermi and Quermy things. All it basically is QYLD or XYLD with a bought put. That's it. There's nothing special about
QYLG is basically just owning half of Qs, but and half into
QYLD.
Whatever, selling a put, whatever, selling calls. It's, to me, you're just paying for that convenience is all you're doing there. Now there's some, obviously Nusi's being a managed fund is completely different. It's a different ball. Like Devo is a good example as well. You could replicate what Devo's doing. It'll be cheaper, but Devo's not that expensive either. I don't know. For those Global X funds, they're definitely not my favorite of all of them for sure.
They're just, all they're trying to do is just mix together some things and try to squeeze out more money from you, and that's all they're doing. They're super simple combinations of things.
Rules based.
Yeah, rules based. They don't have to do anything extra. It's just, I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, they got to pay out monthly. That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
So me, I'm going to wheel SPY. I'm going to wheel QQQ in the retirement accounts. There you go. That'll probably bring in. Once I actually fully build those out, that'll probably bring in at least 15 grand, 20 grand right there, just an options premium.
You could live in
Not to
Thailand.
mention, I can still capitalize on the upside. The world's your oyster.
Yeah, you can live in Thailand on that.
It's retirement. I can't do shit in those accounts. Let's see here. Any experience running the wheel, selling at the money? Well, I mean, I have not, but I think like a SPY or a QQQ would be a good option for those, for selling at the money. Gerry, have you done any? I don't think I've ever done anything at the money.
I've done some things, but they're real lightweight stock stuff. Nothing major that actually would be worth it, like QQQ or something like that.
I mean, every time I've sold to open a cover call against my Qs, I'm like, why did I go with a 15 delta? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, I need to get more aggressive. You know, like I keep thinking that it's like outside a retirement account. I got to deal with capital gains and all that crap, but I can afford to be more aggressive in that account, like a 20 delta or something like that, which is not even. That's still probably $200. You know what I mean, for just one contract. Especially, you can kind of move them around too. Okay, I do think the market's going to stay here. I think it's going to go down. You can play a little bit of directional in there. I'm not really directional in my IB account.
Running the wheel, selling at the money. I mean, I think that's fine. I wouldn't do it on something you don't want to get rid of, like something that you've owned for freaking 10 years, right? And your cost basis is really low and you really don't want to realize those gains. Maybe you don't want to do it on that. But,
Yeah, I don't know if anybody really in here that's doing that. James might do it occasionally, but it's not really, he's not wheeling. He doesn't really have any plan. He doesn't really want to take ownership of crap either. He does, but I don't really know of anybody that's wheeling in here right now. I do know of people that wheel, but I think Investing Sensei did.
Typically, if I get put some shares, it's by accident. And when I say
I
accident,
get put by shares, it's not by accident. It just means I intentionally took them, but I didn't want them.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I probably screwed up and sold too risky, or where I really didn't need to sell the put at, and then it fell, and rolling wasn't really an option, so I took them. That's usually how I end up with shares.
I'd say in the last.
Is Dave frozen?
Honestly, I think only one I can remember this whole entire year was ARK-K. That's the only one I took. Worked out great too, because IB lent my shares out while I was waiting for my covered call to be breached, and it worked. Everything worked in my favor. I was getting paid every which way around, with a reach around included. So that's the only one I took, and it worked out. And I have a bunch of ARK-Ks on right now too. Let's see here. Retire, bought puts insurance a month ago, trying to decide to cash it out or let it roll. Oh man, depends on how far out it is and what it's in.
Yeah.
How did it work out? I've never done insurance, so.
Me either.
Somebody just talked about that last week or the week before. I think somebody talked about it last week or the week before, saying buying a hedge or whatever. I've never done it. Not against it. It's just.
VIX, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I think of the VIX. It worked out too, because I think that Monday it went up. It exploded. Hearing Gerry talk about TNA and naked puts, are we on a PG? No, we're definitely rated X here. Rated R probably, but definitely rated R. Half the crap Gerry says is definitely rated. What's TNA, Gerry? How does that fit into the naked puts?
It's the whoops. It's the
I know what the TNA is. I'm just saying, is that like some sort of X-rated thing or whatever?
Oh boy, come on, Dave.
No, I like TNA. You retire busting our balls. What's going on, James? Glad to see you on here. All good. Yeah, I didn't see all good on Thursday. I didn't see Gerry on Thursday either. A bunch of us hounded out. Matt Money was in there. A bunch of us talking about what we thought the market was going to do and all that stuff. Where were you? Be there or be square.
A lot of stuff going on in real life, so a little stressful, a little busy.
Yeah, I've been super busy working 16-hour days and shit. Can't wait to go to fuck it, Gerry. Matt, Freddie, if I can even get to fuck it. Jeez. Even if I took a boat, I still got to show up to some port. For anybody that owns a boat here, which is probably a Grateful Man, maybe James. I know James has one. I don't know if a Grateful Man has one. And you did go across the whole freaking continent, across the ocean, that. Couldn't you just show up to some random beach and just beach your boat there? Of course, if you have a big-ass boat to get that far, I'm assuming it's an expensive boat. It's too big. Not like you're going to take a little, paddle canoe from here over to there. But you could just show up to some beach, couldn't you? And just get off, and then there you go. Nobody's going to check anything.
I'm sure there's some, I'm sure we have security at every freaking port watching the satellite.
Not going to a port. You're not going to a port. You're showing up to a beach.
Any place. And I'm sure we have, just like air traffic control, I'm sure they're monitoring all the waters as well.
They don't even monitor the south border. What are you talking about? Jeez.
Well, that's monitor the beaches.
David Hibson, what's going on, Dave? Here's a new one. Have been selling calls for. I was thinking about how to pronounce the name in my head.
Yeah, I wouldn't try.
Yeah. Let's see here. Have been selling calls for some stocks prior to earnings, way out of the money. Not something I typically do, but lately seems to work. It didn't work for me. He's talking about selling calls. Didn't work for me because they added a bunch of premium. I sold it, and then they added premium, 2 weeks down the road or whatever because of earnings. I don't know. Something changed, and it got me stuck into it. I couldn't get out prior to earnings at that point. So it almost makes better sense to, if you're going to play earnings, to get in after or get in before. Almost get in right before they close that day.
Yeah, you almost want to be, especially probably the week of earnings.
That probably okay too. I think that you can get away with some stocks, and then if your expiry expands the earnings, it'll probably be okay in most cases. But not some of those volatile stocks. Not a Zoom, for example.
No, those things can leap, 20-30% in either direction quickly.
Selling calls, that's kind of a dangerous thing to be doing too for earnings, unless you own the stock.
Right.
I probably, like I said, I've talked about it many times. What I like to do is I wait till something tanks after earnings, and then that's when I sell puts. I love doing that.
Yeah, you just wait for the confirmation of the move, and then you can play it that way.
Something that tanks 10% on earnings. There you go. You get into it the next day or whatever. Man, am I that far behind already? Jesus. Matthew, yep. Now that you've been holding the bag, yeah, Baba Leaps. I'm a shit bag holder, Gerry. I'm a 10-pound shit in a 1-pound bag leap holder on Baba, Gerry. Man, would you still be buying it now? That has been dropping. I'm thinking about adding 1 or 2 more leaps to my position. I have 3 right now. If it continues to go down to like the 120 area, then I might actually buy 2 more leaps on it. because they're going to be dirt cheap. And what's another $2,000? And I got 2 years. They're January, they're June's actually. Now that I think about it, I think they're June 2023s.
2024s are out.
Yeah, I don't have those though. I do think it'll recover, but it also doesn't seem like any big institution is buying them at all. They're like, screw you, we ain't touching this thing. We're not touching with Gerry's poll.
That's odd. For as big of a company as that is, big of a market cap that is, and they're not buying it, that's odd.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the term? Vested in long term. Yeah, I do think it'll come up. Honestly, if I can add those 2 other ones down there, or even if right now, because I didn't buy the 3 out of the get-go, right? I bought one, it dropped. I bought another one, it dropped. I bought another one. So my average is a lot lower than where I started, but I wouldn't mind adding like 2 more to, that's like 10 grand total I had invested in it. And over 2 years, that's not bad. If I lost it all, which I don't think will happen, but if I did, it's 10 grand, right? Which sounds like a lot of money, but over 2 years, if you're bringing in 30 or 40, $50,000 in options premium, then it's not that bad. I just, that's kind of like, that's Titanic hands, Gerry. That's what that is.
Yeah, what's crazy though is we always talk about, this is different though because it's China, right? Because we always talked about if any of these big companies freaking something major happens, buy some leaps, right? But
right,
this is different. This is China, so it adds a little wrinkle to it, right? So
big wrinkle.
I'm staying out of it. Well, sorta. I have a couple of leaps on KWeb, which is the Chinese ETF. So a couple puts, I should say.
Well,
Did I say leaps?
Not only do I have those 3 BABA leaps, I have a risk reversal on, which actually doesn't cost me a darn thing, but I also have some 115 puts on as well. So I'm every which way, balls deep into it. So I do think it'll recover. It is probably the best Chinese stock out there, probably. And I seriously think that the Chinese want to just tank it so they can get into it. That's just what I think. So I don't know. We'll see. Thank you, James, and good evening to you. James, going on, James? Different James. Let's see here. What's going on, James? Screw soccer. Yeah. Screw freedom. Sorry, I just came to my mind. Let's see here. Hidden freedom investing. Yeah, what's going on, MDB? Night Rider. Exactly, Gerry. Exactly, disease. To elaborate on my To elaborate on my earlier question, I'm long the broad market in 401k, have a few dividend ETFs on my own, and then sell cash secured puts and wheel on stocks I don't mind owning long. So does that mean that that's outside of the retirement accounts?
That's what it looks like.
So you got dividends and CSPs outside the taxable or the tax deferred accounts.
Yeah. So yeah, if you go back to your original question, if you don't want to build up the options account, then yeah, definitely throw it into your broad market ETF or your dividend ETFs.
SCHD is a good one.
DGRO.
DGRO is a good one. VYM is, it's definitely not the best. You're missing.
Or throw it into growth stocks. QQQ. I mean, if you're generating, like you're selling cash secured puts, right? You don't really need. You're generating your own dividend.
Need the dividend income,
right? You're generating your own dividend, so then you can generate that each and every month, and you can put it into growth ETFs. So that's one. It's just another wrinkle to think about.
Yeah, QQQ is a good one. SPY. What's a QQQM? If you're not going to do options against it,
you can. They're just not very. There's not there's not a lot of volume.
But you're not doing options against it.
It's thinly traded. If you're not doing options against it, but see, I would still choose QQQ because in the future, if you want to sell covered calls or whatever, you have that option.
Well, that's the reason I'm asking, because what's like a Vanguard or Fidelity alternative to QQQ that's not QQQ? Because QQQ, it's got a higher expense ratio and all that crap. If you're not going to do options against it, there's got to be a better option than QQQ.
Then you go QQQM. Then that's the better alternative. But
I thought there would be like a Fidelity or a Vanguard equivalent.
There actually is, but it's not really equivalent if you look at it.
Well, because it's not a sector, that's why. It's not a sector. It's kind of it's just not a sector. I don't know. Somebody will probably bring something up in here, some name off some ETF, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm excited about the SPY and the QQQ strategy that I'm doing, or will be doing, especially once I retire or fire, because that's going to be a major money maker. And I don't know. To me, it's like I'm just excited. I don't know why, Jerry. I need some chocolate cake. Let's see here. The good old days. I used to call my teachers for homework help because I knew how to use the white pages. Wow.
You found them at their home.
Yeah, just show up. Yeah.
And then you used to dial the phone like this.
That's a rotary, Jerry.
Rotary phone.
That's a rotary.
Hopefully,
a lot of people don't know.
Nines and zeros.
Yeah, you had to wait forever for that 9 to come around. Nobody. So my grandparents had a rotary phone, but it got replaced with a touch tone. Way better. Oh man, you remember the Anarchy's Cookbook or whatever? You ever heard of that?
No,
and they used to make like these black boxes or whatever that would like put a tone into a payphone, so it kind of make the tone like of a quarter sound. Like when you put the quarter in there and make a tone.
Yeah.
So it'd fake the phone out, so you get a free phone call. You know what we're talking about, probably.
Used to be able to go up to payphones and like slam the freaking receiver down on it, and dimes will fall out.
Jerry used to love those good old days where he actually could slam the phone down.
Yeah, I hate smartphones. You can't hang up on nobody.
Hang on. Flip phone you could.
That's why I was looking. Motorola brought back the Razor, and I'm like, man, I want to get that just so I can hang up on people.
Oh man. So I guess I was curious whether to use that income to build out long. I think it's smart for you, for your situation. We don't know everything about your situation, but it sounded like you had enough time and all that. You don't need the income. You don't really need the dividends either. I'm not against the dividend ways, the dividend portfolio either, because some people need that dividend coming in, Jerry, to stay motivated.
Yeah,
ETFs can be very boring.
For sure, growth stocks could be very boring, especially if they don't go up.
Well, the other thing is
dividend stocks.
I really hate buy and hold investing. Just buy and hold investing is hard. I might have, why it probably is hard, because I started trading like the day I started getting into stocks on my own account. I started getting into stuff, and okay, it went up, I sold it, got into something else. Sounds like almost day trading. It wasn't day trading, but swing trading. I never was a buy and hold investor ever in my entire life. So it's hard to, if you start out on crack, it's hard to go back to weed, right? Because you've never been on a weed, right? I don't know another analogy to use, but
ever since I started seriously into options, I'm a hell of a lot better buy and hold investor.
Well, I am too, because I have my Coma money over there, and then the trading, the stock options trading, takes care of the high that I need, So I got to come with money up there because I don't want to be doing what James is doing and trying to trade a big ass account. We'll be retiring in 6 months and intrigued at increasing my income with options. I think you guys are a bit advanced for me. No, I don't think so. We're really, honestly, Jerry and I are not very advanced.
Yeah, no. Trust us. Yeah, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Believe me, I'm not very. I don't catch on to a lot of those really complex strategies with those funny names and stuff. So, yeah,
The J lizards,
I keep it super simple.
the back ratios. So Lewis, if you're not a part of the Discord, go into the Discord, and then you can show up on Thursday nights, ask questions, talk. You can ask questions in the chat as well. It's free, it costs you nothing. You watch tasty trades, but honestly, your wheelhouse is covered calls as a way to learn, and then maybe even cash secured puts, naked puts. Start with those two right there, and don't trade anything. Don't trade crap stocks. As a rule of thumb, trade stocks you wouldn't mind owning, or options you wouldn't mind owning. She's going to retire in 6 months, and
start with ETFs.
ETFs, yeah. Increase my income with options. Did you see my video, my ultimate investing strategy video that I did a few weeks ago? Watch that video. Talks about my strategy in there, about how I have options I'm doing, I have income ETFs I'm doing, and then I have the SPY and the QQQs. I'm doing options against those too, right? So kind of maybe look at a mix of that stuff. You need the income. Maybe you don't. I don't know. We don't know everything about your situation, but definitely I think it's worth learning options. And I don't know. So many people are against them, but I just don't think that they understand. I think they just heard too many horror stories about people buying premium, probably.
Yeah.
Jerry, here's one for you.
I think we gave my thoughts above, but it's not going to be 9%. I'll tell you that right now. There's no way it can be 9%.
It can if XYLD. Well, let's see. Cormy. So they're buying a put, right?
Yeah, I think it's 5%.
No, that's going to cut down on the income. So if XYLD is 9%, there's no way that can be 9%.
No, it's I estimated it between 5 and 7 is where it'll land. 7 is pushing it.
Why would it be worse than Newsy?
Because Newsy's is actively managed.
Yeah, but they don't sell at the money either.
Exactly.
So if you're selling cover calls at the money, you're going to make more money, right?
But also Newsy is not their put can cost them less, or
they move it around. They move it around. It's not always at 5%. It's always moved around.
Yeah. So 7%, I think, is going to be at best.
I think it'd be comparable to what Newsy is, maybe a little bit less. But like I said, I think that Newsy'd be making more. They'd be making less money on their calls than what this would be doing. But I don't know. I guess time will tell.
I just say time will tell. Like I said in my video, there is absolutely no rush to buy one of these because the price ain't going to go anywhere.
I wouldn't touch it. I'm not touching it.
I mean, 12 months from now, it's probably going to be the same price it is now. So
I don't even think Cuomo would touch it. I don't think Biden would touch it, Jerry. See here. It's a requirement for my job now. What's he talking about? Grinding.
The shot? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel bad for those people where it's a requirement for your job. My job hasn't mandated it. They haven't mentioned it. And they're based the HQ's out of Texas, so I don't think they will. But I thought about it. I thought about it, Jerry. I'm like, if my job required me to get it, even though I want to fire next year, that's still going to be like a $150,000 hit, you know?
What a horrible position to put families in. It
It
really is.
is. It's like, you know, and then they're saying, oh, yeah, we'll just replace these people with immigrants.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, why do we always get political on here, Gerry?
I mean, investing, life.
That's true. It kind of coincides, doesn't it? A little bit. It's just a sad situation that they have to mandate, like that they even mandated to begin with. Nothing should be mandated. It's the way they went about it too. And I know a few people that have had side effects with the shots. So don't tell me there's no side effects of those things. You know, you don't know what the hell they do. Barry. People, so what are you going to do, grinding retire? Are you going to keep your job? Are you going to get vaccinated? You going to get a package? What are you going to do? Poor people have designer clothes and accept. That's true. Rich people try to look poor, and poor people try to look rich.
I got a $3 shirt on. I typically have a $3 shirt on, a $5 pair of shorts, and a $1 pair of flip-flops on. That's my typical everyday out. That's my typical everyday outfit.
He could literally probably get t-shirts for free, but he doesn't even wear those.
No.
So he's completely right though. That's the problem with poor people. They try to look rich, and the rich people try to act poor. They don't try to act poor. They actually look poor, right? We like I'm rich. Yeah, rich. Yeah, I know some people that I don't know them, but I've heard stories of people, you know, building a house and they finish the outside, but the inside's like not done at all. It's put like bare bones and shit in there, but the outside looks like $1 million house, you know? Oh man. Step one of acting poor is to be poor. No, that doesn't answer the question. How do you go to fuck it, for example, fuck it Thailand, and look poor without being poor?
Well, I think in that situation, you'd have to go to Thailand and find out what poor people look like.
It's probably most everybody over there.
Well, then you just try to blend in.
I've been to Thailand. You can't blend in. Not when you're white as a ghost and you're 6 foot. There's no way you can blend in. And I honestly don't have a problem with, you know, that sounds bad. I honestly don't have a problem with tipping extra or whatever, or something like that. They need the money more than I do. There's some of those people over there. You know what I mean?
I was actually looking it up. It was either the night before or the night before last. And actually tipping is not customary in Thailand.
Yeah, some countries are like that. But like I said, there's a lot of scams over there. I don't have a problem with being generous. That's one of the things that I like to do or try to do in different ways, you know, not just monetary, but different ways. Because, you know, I mean, you know, thanks to inflation and stuff over here, our money inflated, bank accounts inflated. But, you know, I mean, we can go over there and live like kings, you know, and help people out, you know, whatever. And that's our country screwing it. They screwed up. They're forcing all these people out of the country, you know. So they're forcing a lot of businesses out of the country too, with taxes and stuff. So what do you expect? Let's see here. How do you act poor? That's true. I was going to say that. Ask for discounts, you know. On anything you ask, yeah. Keeps telling stories about your bus driver date. I'm not going to lie. But I think asking for discounts is a way. I don't really do that now, though. I do love using discount codes and honey and all that stuff when I'm buying
I do
online and stuff. Like I literally won't buy some stuff until the sale goes on. There's certain things like Tecton Tools, for example. They haven't done one discount code the entire year, but probably because of supply chain issues, is my guess. But I'm just gonna wait. Why else wait? So
I always look for coupon codes.
honey,
Always.
honey,
Yeah.
yeah, honey's great. Who bought honey recently too? Somebody bought honey.
I don't know.
Can't remember who bought him. Let's see here. Yeah, the JEPY and Devo talk has started. I'll be buying more Devo this week too. Getting out of VYM. But definitely JEPY. JEPY, I love where that's sitting right now on that chart. So Newsy, I won't be adding to right now. I have enough, but I will be adding eventually, probably down the road. I was thinking about buying 100 shares of JEPY. Do it. Just do it. Yeah, I like JEPY, Gerry. The thing with people think Gerry, a lot of people say, I don't think there's the guys in here, but there's somebody that said that they don't trust these ETFs. But JEPY honestly is based off of mutual fund. So it does have history.
It does have history.
Even though JEPY is somewhat new, it's based off the mutual fund. But I've even asked Gerry that. Would you put your entire net worth into one of these ETFs or in a few of them? I don't know. I don't remember what his response was. I'm not going to do that, but what's that?
I don't remember either. But no, I probably wouldn't. But I'd probably put a good chunk.
Yeah. They're a tool. They're a tool in the tool shed. Newsy, JEPY, ROLD. Marry one, screw one, kill one. I'll probably marry JEPY. Probably kill ROLD. Probably screw Newsy.
I'd probably flip-flop JEPY and Newsy with Dave.
Well, it's not that we hate ROLD, folks. It's just it's not the most solid one there. That's the problem. It's going to be, higher risk, more reward, right? Risk to reward. But
I'm actually looking at buying into RYLD. So
I do own it. I just don't have a big stake in it.
Yeah.
I have a little teeny minute stake in it. I have like a $2,000 stake in RYLD. That's it right now. I was considering maybe putting it in the portfolio, with like a $40,000 stake or something like that. But I don't know. It's just another freaking position in there, Gerry. And the way I look at it is there's some stocks that are in, like QLD that are in RLD, right?
Is there?
Shouldn't there be?
Small cap versus
is it NASDAQ? Well, RLD is not small cap, it's just Russell 2000 stocks or whatever type of let me look at Tesla. Isn't Tesla? I don't know if Tesla's in there, but let me see. RLD Holdings. I actually just looked at it today. Actually, was kind of weird. Russell 2000 covered call. Russell 2000. This is Gerry's wheelhouse, not mine.
No overlap.
No overlap.
None.
With no overlap with QQQQ, huh?
No overlap on QQQ and VTWO, which is the holding of RYLD.
Let's see here, consumer.
So,
AMC's the top holding.
Yeah, you look at that; it's like 0.5 or something like that %.
But it's the top
really equal weighted. So within those three, I don't know. I'd say you'd keep them all.
I guess so. I thought there were some bigger stocks in there.
Yeah, you got Nusi with the NASDAQ. You got JEPY with, I think they have a lot of healthcare, if I recall correct. I haven't looked recently. And then you got RYLD for the small cap. So a lot of bad
Crocs,
names.
BJ's. There's a lot of stocks in here I don't recognize at all. Macy's, Stag Industrial's in there. Synaptics, Texas Roadhouse, Fox Factory. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't recognize almost any of these. I'm sure Gerry does because he trades a lot of these damn things.
Yeah, I know a
Stamps.com.
lot of them.
There's a lot of these could go under. It's just, it is what it is.
That's why there's over 2,000 of them.
Yeah, I would definitely, I wouldn't go all in. It would just be a smaller stake in it. What's your opinion on FOF, which is a fund of closed-end funds? A fund of closed-end funds.
Yeah, I looked it up. I've seen FOF before. Cohen and Steers is a good fund manager. I'm usually not a fan of funds, especially closed-end funds, because usually you take on the expense of all those funds plus the expense of the fund of the funds. So you get a lot of an expense in there. But if you're going to have one holding, it's probably going to be okay to have, you'll be super diversified with that one holding. With that said, I would wait for a big discount on any closed.
Well, it's had a big sell-off. It's still up 10% on the year, but it's come down quite a bit too.
Yeah, it's only got about a 1% discount on it right now. I'd want to see it a lot more than that.
I don't know if you're going to get it.
You might not.
It dropped from $15 down to $13.60. So, but does that pay a monthly too?
Yeah, it's 7.5% roughly.
So it's doing better than many, but it's also very small market cap too.
Yeah, it's very small. No leverage either, which is nice. But you got to look at what they are. Oh, they're invested in a lot of Eaton Vance funds. A lot of these funds that this thing holds are trading at an incredibly high premium. So it's kind of, I don't know. You're taking on the risk of all the funds that it holds.
Get into BST. It's still a discount, I think.
But it's not. It hasn't been bad. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't kind of like stuff like that. To me, it's obfuscated. I think that's the correct word. I don't even know how to pronounce it, really. Like, you don't know what exactly is going on. There's too much shit in there. Like, too much stuff going on. I don't like that.
Typically, closed-end funds will be a lot more volatile in market corrections, so you've got to be prepared to handle that.
All right. So you had all my covered calls called away on GT. I now have 100 shares of GT for technology free. So that's Goodyear tires. Getting your tires.
Free. 100 shares free. That's nice.
Yeah. Had all my cover calls called away on GT. Yeah. Saw some more cover calls. See what happens to tires. I'm doing the wheel on T basically at the money. I trust it. I don't know. I don't. Because I just don't know what's going to happen when they actually do cut that dividend. That's my problem.
It looks like the market priced that in, but you never know when it happens what the market's going to do.
To me, it wouldn't have been a long decline like this if it was priced in. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as being they would have priced it in right away, but there could be people that are still holding out, and they're still holding out before or something like that, and then they'll get out of it. but
I sold the 26 puts, so
I just don't. Yeah, I probably would do a put, but I'd definitely be down from where it's at. Let me see. Where is that right now, actually?
like 27.20 or something like that.
Yeah. Let's see. T. Yeah, wow. Is that it's close to a 52-week low. Oh yeah, I'm just not doing it. I wouldn't do it at the money because I feel like it could go down lower. What if it tanks 10% after the announcement? You know?
They're not announcing it till next year, right?
Yeah,
That's what I
sometime
thought.
next year. I haven't really followed it. I don't own a big stake in AT&T right now either. SCHD has been flat for a while. It's odd that it's not following the market. Well, let's see. SCHD. Yeah, you're right. 17% up though. It's been holding up better than the market, even though it's been flat. Yeah, I wonder if, yeah, I can't remember the holdings in this one, Jerry. I just looked at it not that long ago. Just take a look. Let's see. Because they keep moving them around too.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised the top 10 has a bunch of freaking
Junk.
tech. That's hurting them right now.
Oh yeah, Texas Instruments, IBM, Merck, which had a great freaking week.
Cisco.
Home Depots, AVGO. Yeah, that's probably just kind of the opposite. Apple and Microsoft have sold off quite a bit, so it could be one of the reasons why it's holding up too. And they're always top weighted in a bunch of different things. I bet you with DGRO I bet you DGRO didn't pull back. I bet you it pulled back more than freaking SHD did. Yeah, quite a bit. So, yeah, SHD, lots of tech. What, you don't like tech, Jerry?
No, I just remember it was typically not that, it didn't have that much tech in it before.
No, I used to say it had a lot of financials in it before.
Yeah.
But I think they've trimmed a lot of that out.
And DGRO still holding Microsoft and Apple.
Yeah, that's the reason why I think it's sold off more than SHD did. Why does it keep doing that? Every time I click on the portfolio, it goes down and goes up, goes down and goes up. It doesn't let me get into there. Anyways, I can't see it. Where the hell's the screen? How do I get back there? Okay, here we go. What's going on, Rebecca? She moved her fire date up, folks.
Nice.
Yeah, she moved it up. She didn't play the just one more year game. She might have already played that for a while. What ETF would you recommend for preservation of principal and income? That's an interesting question. I think that's always the people that get into the dividend or get into the income ETFs. That's always probably one of the top things that we're thinking about. So I can't even say Nusi really. You know,
you really can't, because it will it can bleed off if you
like
have
it has.
slow, yeah, like if you have a slow down market. If you have a crash, it's wonderful. But
And preservation of principle is kind of that's a tough thing, right? Because what do you consider like not going down at all, going down less than the market?
exactly,
You know what I mean?
that's the hard part, is because if you have a adverse thought that you don't want to lose any money, right, then you can't be in anything essentially.
You can be on bonds.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, if you can't take 10% of your principal going down in any at any point in time, then you probably shouldn't be in anything.
No, I would say Devo comes to mind for probably best for capital preservation. But that's also me just thinking how it works and why, right? I don't know if it's going to, but it's probably not going to go down more than your dividend portfolio would. You know what I mean? So if you're okay with how much a dividend portfolio would go down, draw down, then you should be okay with Devo. If you're not okay with that, then you probably shouldn't be in the market. You probably should be in bonds or CDs.
How about utility ETFs, maybe?
What about those utility mutual funds or whatever, tax-free state ones, municipalities
Yeah.
or
If
whatever.
you get your own state, wherever state you're in, and get the muni fund, a municipal bond fund, you'll probably get about 2.5%, 2 to maybe 3%. That's about as risk-free as you can get.
Just don't invest in Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E. I would say another thing you could do is, I'm drawing a blank. Shit.
You can keep it all in cash and sell cash secured puts.
You could do that. Preservation of principal and income. That's enough. That's a tough one because we need to know kind of what you're okay with, I guess. I think that because I know what I've talked. I mean, that's probably another comment I got to respond to, but he's already retired, so that's basically kind of my thinking too, right? I care more about capital preservation than I care about growth. So that is something that people think about when you retire: capital preservation and income. Okay, Kevin G. What's going on, Kevin G? Kenny G. Let's see here. What is the thing about letting IB lend out your shares? I don't know what their program is specifically called. I can't remember, but
you did a video on it on Schwab, though, didn't you?
What's that? Yeah, I made a video on Schwab. I don't make I made a video on Schwab about it, but IBKR calls it something different.
It's called the Security Lending Program, I think.
Yeah. SEP or whatever. It just means that if you have a stock that's probably heavily shorted, or at least a good short candidate, then they'll lend those shares out, and then they'll pay you interest on it. And it's like paid daily or something like that too. It was quite a bit of money. I was pretty surprised. So what they do is it's 2% or whatever. Then they keep a percentage of that. You get a percentage of that. So it's a win-win. There's no downside really at all. No, there could be a downside if you're doing a dividend stock that got lent out. But honestly, a lot of that stuff doesn't get lent out anyway. Then the downfall is you might not get a qualified dividend. It might bake that into a distribution or something like that, and it's not going to be a qualified dividend. Other than that, you just sign up for it. They'll do it automatically. I mean, you can sell the shares immediately. It's not like you have to wait or anything like that. So, like I said, there's zero downside at all. Holy cow, I'm way behind. Bend to fuck it. Great place. There you go, Gerry. I like fuck it. I've never been there. Pattaya, I've heard things about Pattaya, but never fuck it. Although Retire talked about fuck it one time. Phuket. Rebecca, Dave back off my sugar mama. I need a sugar mama. Let's see here. Only show up. Yeah, he's got a point. Set your shit off 5 miles or however far you need to be considered in international waters. throw your freaking anchor down and then get in the dinghy in the middle of the night. They might have infrared or something like that. They might have a FLIR device out there.
Probably.
Leave the mothership over the horizon. There is no horizon. The Earth's flat. Let's see here. No way I would touch Chinese stocks ever. The government controls everything there. Communism. Free market rules don't apply there. I agree. I agree. But the Chinese still want to make money too. So, but I don't know. Like I said, 10 grand lost. That's 10 grand lost. Hopefully not, but we'll see. What's going on? All good. Totally agree. Thumbs up. Gary, see here. Why are selling out of the money calls and selling? I don't know what H is, but probably out of the money.
You might have fat fingered that.
Puts dangerous, especially if you own the stocks you're selling the calls on covered. They're not. Covered calls aren't dangerous if you own the stock, as long as it's above your cost basis. There's zero risk, unless you have a $1 million capital gain or something you're trying to not take, which is probably not the case. But if you have a capital gain you don't want to take, then that could be a risk, right? As far as the puts, you could get put and the stock could go to zero. That's probably the biggest risk, right?
Yep.
Those are the two biggest risks right there with those two things. And the cover calls that's a lower risk than the put, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Like zero cost you. There's like zero risk, as long as you don't care about a capital gain, and it's above your cost basis. When we're talking about puts, we're talking about good quality stocks, because you're going to get a discount on the stock, right? The stock's not going to go to zero. Like if the stocks go to zero, we have bigger issues. Who cares at that point? Get your freaking lead and brass out. Get prepared. Futures are opened up, and now they are all down. So he must have said that because I already looked at it. They opened up. We're down 100 now, but they opened up over 100. They didn't open up at 100, but they went up 100. One Q. What's 1Q, Jerry?
Oh, that's the NASDAQ. That's the Fidelity NASDAQ. But it's not the NASDAQ 100. It's the entire NASDAQ. So it's a big difference. So
pretty sure that Vanguard has an equivalent too. I just don't know which one it is. Let's talk about this one up here with interest. The guy, let me see, was the one talking about interest or whatever. But anyways, our capital preservation, you could get a real estate notes. That's going to preserve your capital and pay you income every month. It's not liquid, but it'll pay you 7 to 8.5%, somewhere around there.
You could also loan. You can also loan U-Haul money.
What's that?
U-Haul trucks.
What do you mean loan U-Haul money?
They have an investors club where you can buy. You can put in money for trailers or furniture dollies, and they'll pay you a fixed interest rate back for a set amount of years.
Right now, it might be pretty big, especially if we can get invested in some U-Hauls out of California.
It's only about 2 to 3% at most.
Yeah. The other option is you could do, if you're going to do anything that's interest based, I'd wait a year or two. I'd wait till like the end of 2022 or even to 2023. Their interest rate should come up by then. I'm actually considering the Rule 72T and kind of push that off for a year or two. Just as the interest rates come up, the midterm rates come up, even though, honestly, it doesn't make that big of a difference when it comes to the Rule 72T, but it is what it is. So Fidelity, QQQ, yeah. Wow. Fidelity's well, that's the entire market, though, for the Qs. It's not a one-to-one as comparison. Oh my God, Dave going to school with Redbox. What's that, Gerry?
You're going old school with red boxes. Red boxes aren't old school. Red boxes are still out there. We're talking
They could be old school though, Gerry.
We're talking Blockbusters old school. Red boxes are still, you can still see them on the freaking street. So they're not old school.
They used to be a lot in Walmarts too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what he's talking about. He's not talking about red boxes. I think he's talking about the Anarchy's cookbook or whatever, making those boxes that make the tones.
Oh, they're red?
Well, they had a whole bunch of different kinds of boxes, but yeah. A lot of that stuff in that cookbook would, you make TNT. I mean, you make a lot of shit in there, Gerry. Oh, man. Not that I know anything about those days. Yeah, well, you got retired in your name. You're definitely old enough to know what we're talking about. Dave, not Dave. How old are you, Zach? The advice you are seeking depends on your age. I agree, but I think he said he was pretty young too. Not probably, 20, 21, but probably, yeah, probably younger than Gerry for sure. Link to your Discord. Does anybody put the Discord in there? If not, we will. It's in the description too, though, by the way. It should be the description should have it as well. Won't NUSI, JEPY, Devo, etc. go down with the rise in interest rates?
Everything will.
Indirectly. Interest rates in general aren't going to affect those.
Indirectly, yeah. Bonds.
So what Gerry's talking about here is he's talking about interest rates going up, people pulling money out of the market to get a 2% yield over here in a high yield savings account, right? That's the reason why it makes no sense during inflation times and all that, during low interest rates, to be out of the stock market. Why would you put your money in gold, right? That's the reason why what Gerry's talking about here is indirectly NUSI, JEPY, Devo, is people will probably pull some money out of those fixed income type of ETFs or whatever. I don't even know if that's fixed income, but income ETFs to go to some more income or fixed income interest rate driven things, which I might even do too, a small amount.
To preserve capital.
Yeah, put like 1 year's worth of capital in there, 40, 50 grand or whatever that I need to live off of. Right? That's the long term. That's the 3-bucket approach, Gerry. You love the buckets. So indirectly, that affects the whole market, though, not just those.
So for those getting into bonds now, you are taking big risk getting into bonds right now. So wait until the interest rates rise and the bond prices fall, because the bond prices will fall when the rates rise. So
yeah, screw it. Interest rates. I'm not too worried. It's gonna be a little while before they raise rates. They haven't even cut off the teat yet, Gerry. So we don't even know. Maybe by December they'll cut the teat off. We're talking about buying back or quantitative easing. So that's what we're talking about. I don't know. They could do it by the end of the year, but they might not either. Who knows? Until they cut that teat off, they're probably not going to raise interest rates until after that anyway. I don't think they're going to raise interest rates before they cut the teat. We get political because politics affects regular everyday life. I agree. But people don't like when we talk politics on here for some reason. I already lost a sub since we've been doing this. So yeah, Gerry's probably gained 10. So yeah, people just don't like when we talk about it. They tell us to get back on track, back on focus, talk about options, but this stuff matters. It affects the market. It affects how you invest. I think it does. So
I agree.
Who the hell? Nobody can tell you what to put in your arm but yourself. I agree. Somebody asked me today about whether the military should mandate it. Now, I was in the military, and it whatever shot came like due, you had to get. There is no, oh, I'm not getting that. No, I'll take that one. I'm not taking that one. No. Typhoid fever, yellow fever, anthrax, smallpox. You had to get all that shit. So I was very surprised that it wasn't already mandated prior to them Biden or Carter 2.0 even making it mandated. I was very surprised. I got the vaccine before it was a requirement. Now I regret it over a principle. I agree. If I had got it and they went this route, I would feel 100% like you do. Because I didn't get it, because I'm kind of just anti-government in general. Once they started mandating it and making it this and starting pinning people against us that we're killers and stuff, that we don't care about, people, we don't care about people I mean, come on, that just makes me less want to take it. Even worse. That's not how you get people to take a freaking vaccine. And they just completely ignore natural immunity people too.
Exactly.
Or people that had it, right? Barry's right. I don't know that the rich try to look poor, but they are more conservative and practical and don't care about what others think. Dress in a t-shirt and probably shorts. Yeah. It's more comfortable. Yeah. That's why I liked what's his face? Mark Cuban, billionaire, right? Billionaire. He doesn't have to wear, he can show up to Shark Tank in flip-flops and in a swimsuit. He can be in Prontorelli's. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. He doesn't have to wear, he can literally show up to any court hearing wearing whatever he wants to wear, But when you're, you have to play the game too, though. When you don't have money, you have to play the game.
What do they say? Fake it till you make it.
Fake it until you make it. NBA media making those who I felt bad for a lot of those people. I agree with them. That's the problem. Anybody that's hesitant to get it, I understand where they're coming from. I know people that, I don't know. See here. I've already told my employer that it's against my religion. I also 100% stepped up the most of any employee during the pandemic and repaired many pieces of equipment that no one, I don't know what you do, Nate. Yeah. I'm not religious, so I'm not going to lie either. Which technically means I could lie because I'm not religious. So, but I wouldn't play that. I wouldn't play the religion card for me because for me, and I understand the religion thing completely, right? But me not being religious, I wouldn't play the card, right? Because my values, it comes down to principle for me. I'm not getting it because I'm not, fuck you, government. You're not telling me what to do. That's just me. And I'm bad about that. I'm really bad about that. I have a disdain for the government. So there you go. I don't understand why anybody would love the government. I just don't. Ryan knows what I'm talking about, Mr. Bitcoin.
Yeah, he does. Not a huge fan for sure.
So I just don't. I'm going to owe over $100,000 in taxes this year. That's how much money I'm going to pay in taxes this year. Probably, it's going to be right around there is what my guesstimate is. And I see zero money back. And when I say money back, I'm not talking about getting like money back in a return because I paid too much. I'm talking about in social programs or whatever that the government's supposed to provide. They don't even provide security for our country. Jeez. That's the reason why I have a problem with the government. And I pay them a lot of money. I get zero money back out of anything at all. You can say, oh, what about the roads? Don't I pay local taxes for that? Don't I pay gas tax for that?
Yeah, you should start saying you don't see any value back.
No value back. Zero value back. That's the reason why. Everything they're talking about on TV and this infrastructure bill and this whatever gift that freaking, it's a stack of papers that are like this big, by the way. Nothing in there helps me at all. Nothing gives me anything out of there at all. You ask me why I'm against the government. If I actually saw something like, hey, you want to give health care to everybody, right? Figure out how to do it with the money we already pay you. Like, I'm okay with it giving health care to everybody. But I still think there should be an open option too. But anyways, I really would love somebody for come up in an argument against what I say, because I just show me $100,000 worth of value. You know, I'm ready to leave the U.S. Not prepared yet, but working on it. He's going to get there. He's definitely going to get there. And yeah, he's going places. Ryan Giffen forced the C-19 on his employees. He personally inject each one of them. I heard it on social media. Whatever you hear on social media is always correct. I forced my employees to get the vaccine and their unborn children. I could never see you doing that, Ryan, at all. You live in a state that gives you the option not to do it too. So for CES, I like EAD, ERC, and FTF, and I have a feeling that Gerry is looking those up. I've been ranting.
Yeah, I'm not going to give my opinion, but not a big fan of Wells Fargo.
Those aren't Wells Fargo.
Two of them are.
What do you mean?
They're Wells Fargo.
Oh, Wells Fargo ETFs or CAS. I gotcha. I thought like WFC. I'm like, what?
Yeah, not a big fan of Wells Fargo, but one of them's at a good discount right now. So
every video I put out, there's always like a alphabet soup of ETFs in the comments. and new ones pop up every freaking week.
Problem I have with FTF, we'll just do that. It's 30% leveraged, and for 5 years they've done nothing but lose money. So that's kind of hard for me to get behind.
So let me ask you this about your leverage theory, because if you're talking about income ETFs, if they're doing any strategy with options, you don't consider it leverage, though?
No, it'd be leverage, I would say.
Because there is some...
Depends. It depends on how they're running the option, I guess.
Because there has been some ETFs where you didn't like because they were leveraged. Well, what were they doing to leverage then?
Here's the thing, right? That's 30% leveraged, okay? If you're going to use leverage, you should be able to outperform with that extra money. But for 5 years, you've done nothing but go down with 30% extra leverage. That's not a good sign.
It probably means you went down more, actually.
Exactly. It's not a good. It means they're not managing their money well.
Because the leverage works on the upside and it works on the downside. It could be a Ponzi scheme.
A lot of these. That's why I say a lot. That's why I tell a lot of people CEFs. There are far, far more bad ones than there are good ones, and most of them are designed to put money in the managers and fund managers' pockets. So
BST is probably one of the best ones out there so far. BSTZ or what's the other one?
Yeah, BST and BST.
Two are decent. Those are good. I'm sure there's some probably other decent ones out there, but
there's some good ones out there. Look at UTF, UTG. There's some Eaton Vance funds. There's PIMCO is probably one of the premier closed-end fund managers, but for the most part, they all trade at extreme premiums.
Wait, did you just mention Uzi?
Uzi?
Uzi. UTZ?
Uzi.
Or UTZ? Yeah, Shamir talks about Uzi all the time. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So UTZ is it's a CEF.
No, UTZ is a freaking
I thought you mentioned that
chip
one.
brand.
Oh, I didn't know that. Are you sure?
Yeah, that's a
Jameer mentions it all
PPC.
the time. Doc.
It's a PPC Ian special UTZ.
Oh man, I don't have my. Let me pop up my FinViz again. UTZ.
That thing's been going down like crazy too.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, man. Well, I wouldn't touch that thing with Gerry's poll. Year to date, down 25%. Short, it's got a major short flow. Nah, wouldn't touch it. Well, with any luck, it'd get below $10. You do a colony on it, Gerry.
I was gonna say it could head to 10.
Yeah. I make 60 to 70K and lived in a paid for mobile home. I provide a home for my disabled older sister who pays rent. My expenses are under 1K. Damn, that's pretty low. That's like living in fuck it. That's really low in this country. Should I keep investing in my taxable? God, that's a tough one. I'm gonna max my 401k out, or come close to max my 401k out in the first 4 months of next year. And the reason why I'm doing that is to lower the tax. I may not actually do it. I'm going to actually play the game a little bit because I'm not going to have a lot of income next year. The income's going to be a lot lower, but it's still going to be high. But so I think for you, so he's still got a job. Put enough in to get the match. What you need to do is see how much money that saves you in taxes. It's probably not going to be a lot. For me, it makes sense because I'm in a higher tax bracket. I really need that tax, that 18 grand or 19 grand, 19.5 taken off the top, big time. But for you, it might not make as much sense. It also depends on when you're going to retire. If you're not going to retire until after 59 and a half, then maybe just stick it all in the 401k. Gerry, what would you do here?
That's tough because I've never had a 401k. So, and in my situation, I don't really like retirement accounts. So, his expenses
The
are
money's locked up in a 401k.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't know how big a 401k is because you can roll 72T it when you get out or when you retire. But, the problem here is, Nate, we don't know all the details. So it's hard to answer it.
Yeah, I mean, you could keep investing in your taxable, right? And just never sell. So
exactly. But that's going to probably cost him, and 25% in taxes or something like that. A 25%. That's a pretty big hit, right? So it just depends on what tax bracket you fall in.
Yeah.
It might be worth it to do the 401k and save that 25% or whatever. But like I said, without knowing all the details, although he did say, I didn't skip you, Gary. I'll get you here. I hate the 401k high aggressive, moderate, and the funds have huge expense ratios. They don't. Almost every 401k I've ever had an option to invest in always had like an S&P 500 option. They almost always have target date funds in there.
That's why I hate those things too. It's those are all freaking geared to make the fund managers money.
I have probably 25, 30 options in mind. A lot of them are just junk. Well, they have international options, whatever. They have small cap, mid cap, a small cap, mid cap, and then they have like an S&P 500 equity. So I kind of do all three. I do the small cap, I do the small cap, mid cap, and I do they have a large cap, and then they have it like a SP 500. And I kind of bounce between all those. But you're right. There's not a lot of options in there. They have target date funds and all that stupid shit in there too. But they have a lot of shit I just don't want to invest in there. And you're completely right. You have zero control. I can actually sell out of that, let it sit in the money market, and then move it into something else. Like I can literally kind of swing trade in there, but you're really not supposed to be doing that in there. Some might even charge you like short-term fees and stuff like that. You're right. My biggest thing is back in like 2015 or something like that. I was only putting the minimum in there because I really had a strong feeling that the government, especially Hillary Clinton, was going to take over. They were considering taking over all of the 401ks. And that scared me. The government taking all the 401ks over. Because technically they can. That scared me. So I just, like, screw you, I'm putting the minimum in there. So for the longest time, I was putting the minimum in there. And it wasn't until the last several, 2 or 3 or 4 years or so that I've been maxing it out just because I've been getting killed in taxes so bad. But the government taking it over to pay the national debt and stuff like that has been mulled over by the left. That scared me. So Gerry, option for the week. Tonight futures keep slipping. Let me look at. Oh, they back up. We're almost back to flat.
They urge you.
For me, that's a tough one. Qs, IWM, SPY. That's my wheelhouse. I have been putting on some individual positions here and there, off and on. Gerry, what do you got? Smith & Wesson? Hey, you know what? They're moving their headquarters to Tennessee, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Smith & Wesson. I got a Smith & Wesson on. I got my usual suspects on. So, but IWM, I just put on the TNA, so same thing.
I got one of those.
RK.
I got 3 of those. 4 or 5 of those, but
yeah, I need to actually probably start putting multiples on. That's
the count's getting that big now.
It's yeah. I'm gonna have a windfall hopefully this week, and it's gonna be
windfalls.
Yeah, windfalls are great. So I'm gonna have to start getting comfortable selling 2 or 3 IWMs or something like that, right? So it's just the way things go.
Will you turn on portfolio margin?
I'm thinking of it, yes.
What number do you have to get at before you turn it on?
I'll be there this week.
No, but what number are you going to wait to get at?
Probably 120.
Okay. I think that's what they require anyway.
I thought it was 110.
No, I think you have to maintain a balance of that.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know. God, I just did it. Anyways, I don't remember. It's somewhere around there. Yeah.
This is some good questions here for you. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So they say.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see. We were talking about something on Thursday. James brought up something. I don't know what it was, but the amount of margin it took for him was like nothing. For me, it was a boatload of money. And I was like, what the hell?
Weird how it works out between brokers, too.
Yeah. Dave, can you elaborate on what exactly you are doing when it comes to your current options strategy? I have heard you selling puts or waiting until more strikes become available. Yeah.
It continues below.
I need to scroll down. I'm particularly interested with regards to selling options on the indexes and what you're doing with those, especially if you're doing those weekly. So what I do is every single week a new expiry comes out on Thursday. The problem is you don't have a lot of strikes available, right? You can normally get to maybe a 10 delta. Sometimes it's even higher than that on some things, like a 14. So I normally wait for that to come out. If I don't have a lot of stuff on and I feel comfortable with the Qs or something where they're at, I might just throw a 10 delta on. But I only throw one of those on And then I'll wait till Friday comes out because more strikes open up on that expiry. And then I'll go down lower and put more of those on. But the only exception to this here is that I do the SPY, I do Qs, I do IWMs. The exception is during the quad witching, and they didn't have a new expiry for 2 weeks. That screwed me up. So that November 5th didn't come out until like a week later, a whole week later. So normally I would have put something on every week, had something expiring every week, although technically my nearest expiry right now is October 22nd. That's just RK that's sitting there. My next expiry after that is October 29th. I have some November 5th on. I got some November 12th on that I just built out. And I have some November 19th that I'm building out as well. So that's kind of what I've been doing, but I ran into a hiccup during, I think it was quad witching that caused it, but nobody knows for sure. Probably happens at least, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. It happens again in 3 months. Does that answer your question? I got dibs. Going to sleep, y'all. Good night, Ryan. I was considering that above a certain income, you pay a much higher tax bracket, so I could go lower my take-home pay. Yeah, exactly, you could put in a Roth. You could do the Roth, Jerry.
The Roth 401k? The Roth doesn't reduce your income.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, that doesn't help him really. If he's close to retirement, how does that really help? You know.
But you're not really gaining 22%. You're gaining 22% on a portion, right? Because it's
the whole remaining amount could be in a 22% bracket, right?
Yeah.
Or 25% bracket. Because it comes off the top. It doesn't start from the bottom. I think the only thing that starts from the bottom is that standard deduction of 12.5 or whatever the hell it is. So if you got $70,000, take the 12.5 off, put you down into 60, 50 something. You got dividends, that's going to push you higher, but you're going to be in a pretty low bracket. Is it worth it to lock the money up? The problem here is we need to know more about when you want to retire and what you're going to be doing. Like, do you want to retire early? Do you want to, how do you want to live? He lives pretty cheap now. She's $1,000 a week, $1,000 a month.
You could also start a business, something simple.
For what?
Start writing off some stuff, lowering your income.
You know what?
You could do that for a few years.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you, this YouTube thing is a lot of work, folks. A lot of work. Oh. I don't want to retire to start a business and run YouTube. I just don't. Somebody said that. Like, why don't you start a business? Like, why do I want to retire to start a business? The problem is if your hobby turns into a business, it's not really a hobby anymore. It probably won't even be fun. So not paying tax in the higher bracket. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. You're gonna, if you contribute to a 401k, you're gonna cut it off. So, or you're gonna cut your income bracket down, and that might be worth it. But if you don't need the money, then it might be better to go that route. And then you can Rule 72T it, and you'll be in a low bracket then because you won't have a job. So everything you're going to convert in the Rule 72T of the distribution is going to be a low bracket. You do that option as well. SO is looking really tasty at the moment. I haven't looked at SO. I do own SO. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't looked at that one in a while. Wow. What's going on with these utilities, Jerry? Let's see if Duke is doing the same thing. Yeah, they're all doing the same thing. Why are those going down? Interest rates going up? Is that the reason why they're scared? Or they're scared the interest rate's going to go up?
There was talk that people aren't getting their people haven't been having to pay their utility bills. So
That's a good thing. Jeez. I feel bad for these landlords. I feel bad for these landlords that got screwed from certain states, that where these tenants just didn't want to pay the rent. They could, but they didn't want to. That really screwed that investor. And then they're stuck. Like, they can't even evict the people. I was very. What's another one? ED.
ED. Consolidated.
Erectile dysfunction. I used to own ED too. Let's see. NE is another one. They're all pretty much doing the same thing, with the exception of maybe ED. But
Dominion.
So, yeah, D's a good one too. NE is actually pretty cheap considering. Probably best in breed too. Yeah, I don't know what's causing those to go down. I think they're all looking good. Grinding retire. I own 2 of them. I used to own more, but I had to reduce the utilities. Options on margin. Options on margin when starting out. That's a tricky question. It's 2.5%. You're not using margin. So, what is hers bad about margin? No, I think you can confusing margin with like buying stocks on margin. You wouldn't be using margin unless you actually got assigned shares.
And you didn't have the capital to cover it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we've had this discussion, Jerry. That's not margin, though. If all your strikes add up to more capital that you have in your account, then you'd be using margin.
If they all happen to be assigned all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah, which isn't.
But you're not really using margin. We talk about maintenance margin and all that. It's not the same thing. So what margin means is that you're saying you have a $50,000 account, but you sold puts for $70,000. You get assigned that, you're going to be $20,000 in margin. But when you're just selling cash secured puts, you might be using $70,000 if everything was assigned. That's not using margin, though. Like, for example, I mean, Gerry, it's hard to tell because I'd have to add up all my stuff, and I have a lot of crap on. So I bet you my account's probably like $600,000 or something like that if I was assigned everything.
Yeah, I added mine up the other day. Well, at that time, I was about 20,000 over. Surprisingly, I thought I'd be more than that.
I don't know how. James and I were talking about that on on Thursday night's chat, and yeah, he's got like $2 million or something like that on, or whatever, $1.5 million or something, some crazy amount.
Jeez, mine was like 110 or 120.
So if margin's low capital. So the reason why it's scary, and honestly, with IB, it's pretty cheap. I think it's less than 1%, or somewhere around there. People go hog wild on it. I'm talking about just buying stocks. They use margin, and they don't know how to use it. They're too aggressive with it. They don't understand the repercussions. They don't understand if the market goes down, the broker can liquidate stuff without your permission. They can just liquidate it. So that's the reason why margin has a bad name. It's no different than going to buy a house and getting a loan and being leveraged there. It's technically no different. But people don't understand how to use it, don't know. I think they cash checks. They're casting checks that they wrote that they can't. Wrote a check they can't cash, Jerry.
You almost have to be right using it. You have to be right.
Apparently, the CEF wasn't.
Being wrong will hurt you.
Of course, but you've heard her margin call. That's one of the things that happened in 2008. People using too much margin, and guess what? A lot of margin calls, and it's going to cause a major exit, a Brexit. All school children that go to public school in the U.S. are mandated to get a certain vaccine in order to go to school. What's the difference? The difference is this has been out for a long time. That's the difference.
Yeah, I think it's very, very. I was thinking about this today. I was talking with my son about this today. I think it's very scary that this vaccine is just so nonchalant. Like, it's just a shot. I mean, you got 50 plus years of research going into all these other vaccines, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if those are good.
I was going to say the same thing.
We
Look,
don't know.
I was a small child when I got those. I had no say in the matter.
What I'm saying is we don't know where all these new learning disabilities, diseases, all this stuff, we don't know where they came from, right? And if they came from those vaccines that we all have to take, you'll never know because they won't tell you. So
no way to prove it now.
That's why it's
a lot of stuff has popped up though. Alzheimer's, dementia, ADHD, autism, type 1 diabetes. Like these things have accelerated big time the last 30, 40 years.
So that's why that's the big difference is it's the nonchalantness of it is it's just a shot, blah, blah, blah. It's horror. I think that's very irresponsible as a human.
The thing is you have the right. You have the right. This is, I mean, some people probably argue, say, well, I have a right to live. Like, you got the vaccine. Why are you worried? You know what I mean? Like, it's my life. I mean, it's, I don't know.
Go look at the history of the polio vaccine when they first brought that out.
If I already had kids, I probably, if I was Biden's age, I'd probably get the vaccine. Because I only have like a few more years to live anyway. You know what I mean?
I will say this. Advances in science and all that stuff from back when the polio vaccine was put out is, no argument. It's, a million times better. But still, you don't know. There's still that mystery of who knows what will happen in 30 years, right?
Yeah, to mandate it for kids, if I had a kid and they were going to school and they mandated it, oh, hell no. No freaking way. Because that's just scary. What if if it was mandated all kids and you find out in 20, 30 years they can't even get pregnant, they can't have kids?
Yeah,
we have a whole generation to skip people.
Or you start seeing a spike in a certain birth defect.
Exactly. Zika.
You don't know. And California, by the way, just mandated it for school children. When it's FDA approved.
I just don't understand. I don't understand why it's such a big deal if I don't get a fucking vaccination. Why is it such a big deal to everybody? You know what I mean? You want to get it, that's fine. I'm not, that's your right. Get it if you want it. But I don't understand why it's such a big deal to people that don't want to get it.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I just lost a sub, so that's great. Thanks. Wait, Dave, you pay $100K and you don't see any Nancy Pelosi. The thing is with that $3.5 trillion, would they just be better off paying $100,000 to everybody in the U.S. or something? God, seriously. I don't know how much there's, 330 million people in this country or whatever. Take the 3.5, how much money is that they could pay everybody? I'd be better off with that. Probably the whole country would probably be better off with that, honestly. There's a pretty what is interesting, Gerry, is I'm actually fascinated on how much people get paid these days to do things that we did. You know what I mean? Like, my very first job was working at Burger King, $4.25 an hour. That's what I got paid. And people getting paid $20 an hour and stuff to work at Burger King.
Plus a signing bonus.
Same. So when I used to think that $50,000 to $60,000 was a pretty damn good income for the average American, that's nothing now.
Yeah, 10 years ago, over 10 years ago now, I was making 60 grand a year, and I thought, whew, I'm balling.
That is balling. But apparently, I guess it's not really anymore.
Yeah, it's not anymore.
I think I need to change. I think I need to change a lot of my thinking because I'm still stuck on, what people get paid to do this, to do that. And maybe I'm stuck. My brain hasn't been adjusted for inflation or something. There's a pretty funny clip at the end of the NASCAR race yesterday. Yeah, I've heard that. And Biden actually thinks that people want to have sex with him too. Is there a reason why he walks like an old man, Gerry?
Because he's an old man.
Yeah, I know. He really does kind of walk like he's like 100 years old. He is 100 years old. He's 80 something. He's not 80 actually. He's close to 80 though. See here. You can lobby your HR department to get more options for your 401k. Oh, that's interesting. I'll tell you what, they really, it's a racket, Gerry. It's a racket.
It's a big racket.
You have to quit. You have to quit to get your money out. That's one of the that's a huge incentive for me to quit. To get my money out. Go work for somebody else if I want, or even go back to work for the company later on, But it's a big incentive to quit. Because they have that money, and it's a pretty substantial chunk of change in there. Well, it could have been a lot larger if I actually believed in 401ks. But imagine, having $1 million in there and I can't do shit with it, until you quit. I hate the fact there's no in-service rollover. They should allow you to do it like, once in your entire career of that company or something, at least, or something. I don't know. So it's just borrowing money at that point, since it just doubles the amount I can buy in stocks. Yeah, you're borrowing money. But I don't know. We just talked about that when it comes to the options. It's a little bit more complicated. Oh, we're near the bottom. Interesting. Okay, it was 1.2, but I could cover 100% without margin if assigned. But the market would almost have to be down another 15% for that to happen. Yeah. 700,000 dead Americans. You have a response to that, Gerry?
And
this is natural.
I don't mean to sound unfreaking sympathetic, right? But people are going to die in a pandemic. People are going to die every single day, right? What does me getting a vaccine going to do to change that?
People die with cancer. People die with smoking. People die with walking down the street. People die every single day in Chicago from gunfire, gang on gang. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And there was a comment, I meant to address this a few weeks ago, but there was a comment that said COVID patients are taking up spaces for beds in hospitals for people with heart attack victims and blah, blah, blah. Why aren't heart attack victims taking up beds for people with COVID that need the space?
Yeah, exactly.
Heart attack victims is more easily avoided than COVID.
True. And so you could look at it either way. The heart attack victim is being selfish because he ate like shit for 30 or 40 years, right? So the COVID person, it's a pandemic. These don't happen very often. This is just a part of life.
And like I said, I don't mean to sound unsympathetic.
The thing is
I know there's a lot of dead people, and that a lot of them were obviously seniors and people with previous health issues. So
if I was older, if I was 60, 70, 80 years old, I probably would have got the vaccine. Because there's a lot more figured out in my life at that point. It probably would have, if I had kids or I didn't have kids. But me being the age I'm at, and a lot younger than Gerry, I just don't have any reason to get it at this time. $700,000. How many people die? They don't make the flu vaccine mandatory, and 60,000 people die from that every single year, right? And the flu doesn't even exist anymore. It's gone. Nobody cares about the flu, people. Why? It kills a lot of people. It's not mandated. I don't need it. I never get it. Most of my friends who are getting COVID now are all vaccinated. That's kind of weird. Yeah. And maybe I'm naive, but I honestly believe that the body takes care of itself. I try to resist any drug if I have to take, I was talking to Gerry. I'm like, I want to get my wisdom teeth taken out, and I don't even want to take the antibiotics afterwards. I really firmly believe the body takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And any drug they put you on really is going to screw you up even more in the long term. In the short term, it might help, but 700,000 dead Americans is why we need to get vaccinated.
But I don't understand why you need a global vaccination. If you're vaccinated and I'm not, you're fine.
Yeah, I really don't get that either, though.
You only need 50-50, you only need a 50-50, equation here.
We would have been over this thing a long time ago. A lot of people would probably die.
Yeah.
A lot more people probably would have died, but it would have been over with. And it's never technically going to go away. We're just, it's never going away. SARS didn't go away. Nothing goes away. But there would have been a lot more people dead. I agree. There would have been a lot more people dead, but it would have, we would have been, back to normal. And why are the states that have the mandatory this and mandatory that and mandatory mask have the most outbreak? Tell me the logic there. Tell me the science there.
Maybe I'm biased because I had COVID.
I don't think I had COVID. I kind of wish I did, but I don't think I have. So that way I can say I had the immunity and all that, and maybe my job will give me a package or something. But no, I mean, at least I just don't know. If most people are vaccinated, that's how the math starts working, Kevin. It's not 100%. There's so much bull crap they put out there. And now you got Google that's going to censor shit. That just even makes it worse. You start censoring stuff like that. This makes it even worse. Because Google is a doctor, so they know what's best, what should be censored or not. They know what's misinformation. And we're on a Google platform right now.
Yeah.
But come on, they're not doctors. And I don't even believe a lot of doctors. I don't even agree with a lot of the medicine practices they follow. I'm keto, a lot of those don't recognize keto at all. They actually think that we're going to kill ourselves by giving us increasing our cholesterol and all that. They're just trained on old technology, old medicine. They like old information, Ansel Keys information. So I really firmly believe that the body. Gerry, did you get over COVID? Did Carrie get over COVID? Did John get over COVID? Did your mother-in-law get over COVID?
My 83-year-old mother-in-law got over COVID too. We didn't do anything special. We rested.
Yeah, your mother-in-law did better than you did.
The mother-in-law actually did better than all of us. My wife had it really bad. I had it okay. My 16-year-old son was It was weird to see a 16-year-old lethargic. You know what I mean? like turn off his computer and go lay down. Like that doesn't happen, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it was the greatest thing to go through, but I mean,
He's
I'm
got videos
glad
out there, folks,
actually.
when he had it. So
Yeah, I'm glad that we actually went through it, to be honest with you, because now I don't really have to deal with this vaccine thing, or so I thought. But now I'm in the lumped into the unvaxxed,
yeah,
which is
I'd
unfair.
rather be in your boat where I had it and I recovered and I knew, that you're probably not going to get it again. I actually think that natural immunity is way better than the vaccine. But
100%.
whatever. We're going to go in circles here. There's going to be people that just, like I said, I don't care. You got vaccinated, that's great. Anybody that wants to get vaccinated, that's great. I just think it's terrible to pin those people against the unvaxxed. I just really do. Nothing should be mandated. Period. Damien, what's going on, Damien? Long time no see. Did you think they will continue with COVID? And that's part of it too. There's so much crap you can't trust out of the government. The government, right? Like they're using this as a way to spend money, to advance their agenda. That makes it even worse for me because I'm so anti-government to begin with.
You gotta all these crises. Who makes the money? That's what it's all about.
That's what it's about. It's all about, yeah, exactly. Who's making money right here? Let's see here. I tried lobbying the board that controlled our 401k that they told me to give me more options. Violated the fiduciary responsibility. Really? My rebuttal was, yes, for all the non-intelligent people, you are right. That sounds like I think any good HR department would take any suggestion up, seriously. What do they lose other than doing their job? Like, oh, I have to get off my ass to do my job. Like, is that what it is? Or is it more of like if I talk to my HR department or something like that and say, hey, I'd love it if you had this option. What I should do is call them and say, hey, yeah, why can't I do an in-service rollover? That's probably a Fidelity requirement though for most companies. They're like, oh yeah, you're locked up. Yeah, we don't want you taking money out of it because you're cutting money out of our pockets. Like that's what it's about. Right? I haven't gotten the jab. My work is bringing in a vax policy. I'm probably going to require you to get a vax. The fly thing's a difficult thing for me though, Gerry. If you can't fly anywhere, like they're trying to make it where you can't fly, period, without it.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I'm trying to think of where it would affect me. I think, not being able to take a cruise, which is what I wanted to do, not being able to go to some theme parks, which would be nice with my son. Not, other than that, because I work from home and thank God everything worked out so well. I know you're not religious and I said thank God and you don't really care, but
I still use the word.
yeah, everything like worked out, right? Like I got into options. I started doing YouTube. I was really considering going back to actual work prior that. And yeah, I don't have to deal with any of it now. So it's kind of nice. But the extracurricular activities like outside of the home, that kind of sucks.
So not be able to fly domestically, that's going to be huge. That would be huge. I don't fly at all right now because I work remote now, but to have that on indefinitely, that's kind of scary if they end up going that route. Like it probably would force people to get vaccinated at some point. I hope they don't go that route though. I really do. This is America, although it's really not anymore, but this is America. It used to be, everything that's great about America is getting destroyed. Cancel
It's not
culture.
recognizable. It's not recognizable.
It's not. It's scary. Like everything that people come to this country for, that want to come to this great country for, is being destroyed. Scary. See here. Not with you guys here at all, but I'm not gonna unsub. Hey, I appreciate that. Really do, Jeff.
Yep.
Because we all have different, we try not to get political, but we do. But Gerry and I are going out on a limb here because you guys cannot support us and unsub from us, and I do get a lot of unsubs from doing these. I think 5 like last week or something. And but it's also important to talk about it because a lot of it has to do with investments and stuff as well, right? Indirectly. So I do appreciate that, Jeff. I for anybody that's not a conservative, I love having the debate. I love having the open conversation without having repercussion of me stating my stance. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate that, Jeff. Hey Dave, member boot camp. Boot camp. Oh yeah, shit. Stand in line. Psst. Yeah, you know what? Grind and retire. I went in a weird time. I went in 2002, and we didn't have the assembly line of the. Well, so take that back. We had the assembly line. We walked down a line, and there's people on both sides. Jab, 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 jab. But we didn't get the cocktail of the air gun for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't get the gas chamber either. Yeah, I heard my brother got the he got the air shot. I didn't. Most people in hospitals in Israel are vaxxed. People with COVID shot is weakening. It's morphine. It's morphine. Yeah. The claim that they are making, though, is that the illness will start to mutate. That's true. That's going to constantly mutate. The virus is trying to stay alive. It'll just get weaker, though. It might be more communicable. I can never say that word, but I think it's going to weaken as it goes on. Even though it might be more contagious, it might be less deadly. Let's see here. Do I even know what I'm talking about, Gerry?
Probably not.
Okay. There will always be people that eat up the media BS. That's true. Yeah, it's like sheep following sheep. Well, I don't know why I'm following the sheep. I'm just following the sheep. Look at it this way. Would you eat up all the stocks that get hyped on your tube, or would you do your own research? There's people that don't do any research at all.
Absolutely.
There's people that don't do any research and literally get into whatever Gerry puts out.
Exactly. It's like there was a comment on my just this past video where I did the income fund showdown, or where I show all the year-to-date performance of all the popular income funds, and I added in SLVO because a lot of people touted that toward me, right? So and I show you, you lost 25% of money. Yeah, you got some income, but it's a piece of crap, basically.
It's a reverse mortgage.
Yeah, but the guy commented, he goes, "You're really recommending SLVO?" I'm like, you didn't even watch the freaking video.
Yeah. I've had a couple of those people recently that didn't watch the video or didn't really just commented on something, but it's like had nothing to do with what I was talking about. But no, SPHD got pushed around for a long time. Like it went around the whole the investment community, and so many people love that thing. And then QLD for a long time made a rounds. It's not doing it as much anymore, but just know what you're getting in, right? I mean,
yep.
Yield chasers.
With everything.
Just out of curiosity, we pulled out of Afghanistan, so shouldn't we have a bunch of money not spent? Hint. So why is inflation and diffs rising? Yeah. Not to mention
they got to write off the billions of equipment.
Yeah, $60-70 billion worth of shit they left out there or whatever. Oh man, it's politics.
They're probably gonna send some billions over to them to.
I hope they don't.
For the families that we killed.
Yeah, Well, for that bad drone strike.
Yeah.
You know what? They probably should. They probably should send money over for that. I don't know if we should send money over for aid or help the government or anything like that, like we did Iran, but that's what they're talking about doing, you know? Air gun shots. Yeah, like I said, I got lucky enough that, I don't know. I had a penicillin shot. That was tough. That thing's huge. And think of this. Penicillin, think of squirting like clear silicone into your ass. That's basically what penicillin was in my ass. Your ass hurts for a week or two, and it's just thick. You know, it reminded me of silicone. I got butt implants, Gerry.
Ew.
Great stream tonight, guys. Yeah, we're gonna call it here. We got down to the bottom, so we won't do a 3-hour one tonight. So CVS put out training for its employees, prioritize promoting minorities over non-minorities. I don't even know what a minority is these days. So,
I do. You're more the minority than anything else.
I was gonna say I think white people are a minority these days. It is what it is. 330 people in hospital in Australia announced by the leader. 78% were vaccinated. 17% partial and 5% were unvaxxed. But let's make the unvaxxed the issue. It's true. There's a lot of crappy information that's being misreported out there on purpose, I think. Yeah. Good night, Damien. Oh, did you see this? The UAE president said that they should focus on playing with China because the U.S. isn't in the future. I agree. We're definitely, if you're going to raise taxes on corporations and force them overseas, like there's no incentive for the companies to stay here. You know, we're not going to be competitive. We're not going to be competitive energy-wise either. You know, so we're shooting ourselves in the foot. That's all we're doing. You know, we're making China a stronger country than the U.S. That's all these policies are doing. Hey, we appreciate everybody joining tonight. Seriously, you know, the debate, or it's not really a debate, although I kind of prefer a debate, but it is what it is. You know, you can put comments in here, but, you know, appreciate the people that stick around and listen to us banter and stuff. Have an open dialogue. Because all in the end, we're investing, and everything we're talking about here affects investments too. So anyways, Gerry, you want to say anything?
No. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for being here. You know, congrats to Dave. He hit 8,000 subs. Nobody even noticed. I remember way back.
You hit 5.
I hit 5, but I remember way back. I used to say, I remember Dave was at 2,000 subs, and I used to say, I just want to be like Dave, right? One day. And then
I want to be like Gerry now.
I hit 2,000 subs, and I was like, oh, crap.
Now you're at 5.
Now you're at 5. But I'm just saying, like Dave alluded to earlier, YouTube is it's a grind. And 5,000 subs, 8,000 subs, oh, man, we need to be at like 50, 80,000 subs for actually really to make it somewhat worth it. Because it's true. A grind.
It is a lot of work. I do enjoy, you know, the questions. I love like people's, you know, perspective, or they, you know, I've learned a lot, right? Like I don't know everything. I know what I know, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean what I know is right either, you know? So I've met some great people like Gerry, for example, and people that are way out of my age range that have already retired, you know? And so I learned a lot, you know, I've enjoyed it. It's not easy though. It's more stressful than my job, like way more stressful than my job. And it takes up way more time than my job. So it is what it is. Anyways.
You get like $1 an hour.
Yeah, it's like being in the military again. So like the 7,000 people throw out, like they personally counted the number. Yeah, they had no clue. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's politicized. That's the problem.
Absolutely.
It's politicized. So thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. Looks like the market is back down about 57, so it's not too bad. So let's everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining, everybody.